All right. Well, it seems like we've got a little break in people trying to get into the session, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'd like to welcome everyone. My name is Madeline Carey. I'm the Assistant Director for Alumni Engagement and Events Management for the Bryan School of Business. And I am so excited that you guys are all here. It's looking like we have a lot of students in the mix today, so welcome students. Might be some of your first times seeing me. So, but hopefully you will see me after you graduate. Um, I'm really excited to be here in the Bryan Breakroom, and we have a very special guest, one of UNCG's biggest supporters and just one of our all-out stars. She is a twice alum almost, and right. And she's currently here getting close. She's currently at UNCG getting her MBA, second graduate degree. She's avid learner, always trying to improve. And Mary Lisa is also a close friend of mine, and I am beyond thrilled to have her here. So I am going to, before I turn it over to Mary Lisa, I'm gonna let you guys know about a little bit of the rules of the room before we get started. So Mary Lisa is a real big fan of interaction. So we're gonna have you guys turn on your cameras. Just know that this session is being recorded. So if you do not wish to be recorded, please do not turn your camera on. If you have questions during the session, or you came locked and loaded with questions already, you can go ahead and start dropping those in the chat. Mary Lisa is going to make a little bit of time for that at the end of the session. I might even butt in so that we make sure to have some time for that if necessary. So if you have questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat and we'll try to get to them. We might not be able to get to them all. Please use kind and considerate language in the chat. And if your question is a little too complicated or the answer is too involved, we might reach back out with you after the session, just due to time constraints. We're only in here for an hour, and I know Mary Lisa has a ton of great information for you guys, some of which I've heard she's never shared before. So get ready. Take the poll, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Mary Lisa.
Awesome. Thank you, Maddie. That's quite the introduction. I am so excited to be here, and LinkedIn has been a tool for me for a long time. And if you follow me on LinkedIn, you'll know that I am fairly active. I enjoy posting about some of my professional opportunities, things that I've gotten to accomplish, posts that I'm really proud of, or events that might be happening that I'm excited about, or things along those lines. And I love presenting on this topic. I think LinkedIn is such a resource to so many, and I think a lot of times we don't utilize it the way that we could. So I hope that you all are able to take away some really great information from this. As Maddie mentioned, I really enjoy the interaction. So if you have a question during the middle, please send a chat. Feel free to unmute yourself. If you want to go ahead and turn your camera on, and head nods are great, things along those lines. Hi, Denise, I appreciate you. So please be interactive. I would like this to be a conversation so we can learn from each other. I also am always learning things about LinkedIn every day. So if you've had an experience that you want to share, I would love to hear from that. So lots of information that we're going to go over. And to give you a little bit of an overview, we're going to go through everything that's a little more basic, all the way into more details and how to really leverage your LinkedIn profile, especially for a job search if you're in the middle of that process. So we're going to touch on a little bit of everything, but I know we've only got maybe 45 to 50 minutes with some time to hopefully answer some questions at the end. So thanks, Maddie, for having me. Okay, so to give you a little bit of background on myself, my name is Mary Lisa, and I'm a business recruiting manager for the North Carolina Economic Development Partnership. And my role is essentially to work with businesses and to serve as a resource for them through an expansion or relocation. So I enjoy talking with companies to recruit them to North Carolina. Oftentimes we are competing with other states. And so this is my opportunity to share what I love about North Carolina and how North Carolina is a business-friendly state. I do have a Master of Education in Higher Education, and I am dangerously close to finishing my MBA. So I will be very excited. Shout out to any current MBA students that are on the line here. I know many of you are graduating soon, and I'm very jealous. I've got at least another semester or two. So another thing that's important, and I spent roughly 8 years in UNCG after I finished undergrad. I have used LinkedIn in every role that I've had at UNCG, and that's everything from working in career services, working in alumni relations, and then spending most of my time working in graduate recruitment for the Bryan School. So LinkedIn really is a resource no matter what kind of job that you're in now. And so we're going to talk about that a little more. My biggest goal for LinkedIn, and I'm curious, this is going to be the first time where I'd like you all to send something into the chat, but I'm curious about how many of you all have Googled yourself recently. Just put a yes or a no or something into the chat and let me know. Awesome, seeing a yes. Normally I see lots of no's here, and it's seeing a little bit of mixture, which is great. Hopefully, thanks everyone. Wow, awesome. Hopefully this is a good reminder that your personal brand is incredibly important. LinkedIn is a really great way to put your personal brand at the forefront. And then Sean, I totally understand that. And I'll talk about this in a second. I'm very lucky that I have a very different name. So there are not very many Mary Lisa Pegs out there. But if you were to Google yourself, you want to make sure LinkedIn should be the very first result, unless there is a professional baseball player out there with your same name like Sean. So it's really important. And, a lot of times, especially, as we're growing up, and if we have folks who are, be active on LinkedIn or active on Instagram or any of the other social media channels, you may find that comes first. But you want your professional image to be your LinkedIn. And so I always encourage, especially students who may be in the first time job search, to make sure you're checking what's out there. It's really important to have a pulse on what's behind your name, because this is what recruiters are going to be looking for. Hopefully, Maddie, I love this. Everyone should be Googling their names either right now or after this presentation. I love it. So awesome, Neetha, that's great. A couple of things. This is where I want to get another gauge on where you are. So what I'm looking for here is, how do you currently feel about your LinkedIn status? Are you an expert and then you would be red? Are you kind of in the middle? You would be green. Or are you very new to LinkedIn? Maybe to a profile, but haven't really done anything else, and that would be blue. So, okay, seeing some greens. Awesome. I would say when I normally do this presentation, there are lots of greens. And this, this is everything from, you've posted maybe a couple times, you've got a picture up, you've got your name on there, you're not logging in every day. It's not a continuous effort for you. Lots of greens. I think maybe all greens. Yeah. Okay. Great. So this is pretty normal. And what we want to talk about here today is, how do we take that green to the next step? And especially, how do we take it to a point where we can really utilize the assets of LinkedIn to help us in either a job search or relationship building. LinkedIn, if you're in any kind of business development, LinkedIn is going to be an incredible resource for you. I find myself meeting with lots of folks that I've never met before. And so I need a visual on who they are. So I know don't walk up to the wrong person at a coffee shop. LinkedIn is my go-to of who I'm looking at first. So be sure to use this. I mean,
Hey, Mary
there's
Lisa.
so many resources. Yeah.
Make sure your picture is recent, because if someone's looking for you in a coffee shop, they want to be able to find you and not a picture of you from 10 years ago.
That's so funny that you say that. I just had this conversation with someone else, and with someone that we work with in the community who is probably in her 60s, and her profile picture is definitely from 20 years ago. So, yes, for those of us who are meeting with you in person, please keep your picture updated. And we're going to talk about that actually here in just a second. So this is kind of just a fun visual here. I really enjoy what LinkedIn provides. I am active on social media. I love Facebook and Instagram and all of those great platforms. But what we want to make sure that we're doing is recognizing the difference that and the specific that LinkedIn offers. And it is very different. So these are some fun things about, donuts on different social media, how they may be interacting. What's most important, how the donuts interact on LinkedIn. So these are important areas that we want to make sure that we're concentrating in. LinkedIn is not your opportunity to post, your weekend out with your friends. This is a professional platform. And we want to make sure that we're utilizing it, because this is where our colleagues and future employers are going to be looking. Okay, so really quick, I want to talk about a little bit of a LinkedIn checklist, and this may be more of if you haven't totally built up your LinkedIn, we'll talk about some tips and tricks here. And then I have a 5-step LinkedIn profile checklist, and we're going to go through each of these really quickly, but everything from focusing on what's above the fold, your education, and there are some important pieces that we want to tie to education, work experience, and how we're really buffing that up to make sure that it looks what it's supposed to look like for a potential employer, focusing on volunteer experience, and then thinking about what skills you've got and how you're posting those. Okay, so above the fold, this is a really important piece, because above the fold goes back to the old saying of when you're opening a newspaper, if your article is above the fold, it's going to be the first thing that everyone sees. And so we want to look at the same thing with LinkedIn profile. And keep in mind, this is going to change and evolve with where you are in your professional career. So, and they all look a little different. This is a snapshot of what mine looks like right now. And you'll notice that my about has actually changed over the last 6 months, because roughly 6 months ago, I accepted a new role. And so we'll talk about those pieces. But the most important piece that Maddie also mentioned is the professional photo. And please keep in mind, this professional photo does not have to be one that you're paying someone to take for you. This needs to, our iPhones are amazing and can take a really solid picture and something that you can put up there. So whether you're getting your partner or a friend to take this for you, put it on portrait mode, get a good picture with a really solid background, and post it as your LinkedIn profile. I even see grown adults who were at a wedding, and it's a one-time put a tux on. They crop out the other person that's on the other half of the picture and put it as their LinkedIn profile. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. This needs to be a solo portrait of you by yourself, and I promise it will look really, really eye-catching, and it also is very helpful for those of us who are meeting with people we've never met before. So next is headings, and this is something that's going to change and it's going to evolve. So right now, mine is very simple. It's my title, and then I put food processing on the end, because my role is focused primarily around the food processing and agriculture industry. So within economic development, this tells people who may be looking at my profile that this is a specialty of mine. And so, this piece could look very different if you're unemployed and you're looking and you're in that job search process and you're looking for something very specific. You may put something in that section along those lines of what you're looking for. A couple of tips though, it needs to be very short and very succinct. I've seen some where it looks like they're taking the maximum number of characters that you can put in that section, and we do not want to do that. You want to make sure that it's only a couple of words, and I really wouldn't suggest going below more than one line. So if it has to go to a second line, see if you can cut some of that out. A couple of other things, the LinkedIn summary or the about section. This is a really good opportunity for you to highlight what some of your specialties are. And mine, when I was in that job search process, I beefed mine up a little bit to talk about, without telling my current employer what I'm going to do. I was able to add in a little bit of information about where my skills were and what that looked like. And my skills went beyond just working at UNCG. So keep in mind, 6 months ago, I took a totally 180-degree industry switch, went from education into economic development. I had lots of mentors that helped me through the process, one of which I believe is on this line right now, Bramley Crisco, who hopefully you guys know. And it's a huge support, but that is one thing that you want to make sure that you're focusing on. As you're filling out some of these areas, I always encourage people to go and look at others' LinkedIn profiles that are in spots that you want to be. So if someone is in an HR role and they have the role that you want, go look at their profile, take out some of those buzzwords, and make sure that you're matching them. And we're going to talk about the importance of buzzwords in just a little bit and how those match up.
Hey, Mary Lisa.
Yeah.
If a question comes up relative to what you're talking about, do you want me to let you know?
Oh, yes, please. I totally missed it.
Okay, Mary,
thank you.
Mary Helen has a question.
Okay, do you think it's okay to get a little creative with your banner, like designing graphic with your degree and job title? Mary Helen, I think this totally depends on the industry that you're looking at. I think we see a lot of creative industries where this is a huge plus. Marketing, this can sometimes be a really important one. It's also looking at what kind of job that you're looking into. They're thinking about something like the aerospace industry. They're not as maybe creative or engineering focused or something along those lines. You don't want to overwhelm the people that you're hoping to attract to your profile. And so my very short answer to you is it depends. But your LinkedIn profile should be a reflection of you but in a professional way. So just make sure whatever you're putting up there isn't overwhelming. Also is a good depiction of who you are and what that professional you looks like. But I always encourage things that are going to grab someone's attention. And I'll be honest, one thing that I like about, and I have no data to back this up, but one thing I like about the profile picture that I've chosen is it's got that green background. And I feel like it's really eye-catching when someone's looking at my profile. Okay, last thing on here is the featured articles. And you may not have any of these to add. I was quoted in a Food World article, and so I just threw that one up. If the Bryan School is posting something about you, which I know the Bryan School marketing program is really great about highlighting students. If you can find a link, put that into your featured articles. Maybe if you were quoted in something, maybe if you won an award, those are all great things to put in your featured section. So you may or may not have something to put there. I think that grows as you get more experience, but that's a really solid way of adding to your LinkedIn. And so I really enjoy that section. And Bryan School features alumni frequently. So, and they're really great about not only posting to LinkedIn and Instagram or whatever, but also having a coinciding article that goes with it. So those are great spots. And if there's something that you'd like to talk with, Maddie is a great resource for things along those lines. So make sure that you're connecting with people who can help with that. I know as someone who worked with alumni for several years, it's really important to, this is a good way to give back. And so make sure that you're connecting with the alumni team. Okay, I saw one more come through. Is this Maddie? There it is. Awesome. Thanks for including that, Maddie. Okay, so going back to this LinkedIn summary, I have Jean's permission to show this. This is one of my favorite students from, he is now doing big things in Dallas, Texas, but this was his snapshot. This is a snapshot of his About Me from several years ago. And, I still use it because I just really like what he put there. So I'm going to read the first paragraph to you because I just think he did a really great way of his words here. An ambitious student leader who has a passion for team and personal development, proven to be an effective leader who has innate ability to plan and execute initiatives in an effective manner, superior communication, problem solving, innovation, marketing, and organizational development skills. Wow, that's like a mic drop moment for me. I just thought he did such a great job. And I like this one too, because think about it, oftentimes you may be in a job search mode, but you don't want your current employer to know that you're in that mode. I don't think anything in that first paragraph tells us that he is looking for a job. I also think it highlights his skills really nicely. And so I was just really impressed with Jean and what he put here. He also does a great job. Jean was very involved student. And so he lists some of those pieces below, which is also really important. At the bottom, he also gives a really good, just, what is that, 6-word overview of who he is: leader, achiever, industrious, forward thinker, impactful. I really like that. And I think it gives someone who's looking at his profile a really quick note of what some of his strengths may look like. I also very much love StrengthsFinder. So if you've had a chance to take StrengthsFinder, I include my StrengthsFinder signature themes on my About Me section. So again, we're looking for a snapshot of your goals, specialties, your journey, etc. Okay, education. I'm going to go through this one really quickly. I think this one is pretty basic, but one thing that I have noticed that people miss is they link their education, but they do not link, it's like they don't actually link the school. I want just to do a quick checklist. When there should be a picture next to your school, and that's confirmation that you linked the appropriate school. So just make sure that you've got that, and I'll talk about the importance of that later. You want to make sure that you're linked to the actual school. One thing I got a question on when I did this presentation just a few weeks ago was putting your graduation date on your school. Keep in mind, it is not required that you include your graduation date. And a lot of times, I know that many don't feel comfortable because it can sometimes, if you were a traditional student, it can show your age. And I struggle sometimes with making sure that I'm putting forward my most professional self, and I don't want someone that I'm working with to discount my opinion or my professional advice because of maybe what they see as a lack of experience. So I actually took my my ECU, which is my undergrad, I took that off my profile. And I actually think I have updated this since, and also took off my first master's profile, or my first master's date as well, so that I just have my prospective graduation date for my MBA. And it's a personal preference. It's completely up to you. That's just something that I chose to do, and you may find that that's helpful as well. Okay, experience. So experience is an important piece because not only does your experience pull in important keywords that you may need for the job search process, but it also gives someone who's coming to your profile a really good overview of what you've done. And I'll be honest, I completely copy and pasted what's on my resume and stuck it in to these areas down here. And so everything that I've done, I've tied it all together. 7.5 years that I was at UNCG, I have every experience from UNCG on my LinkedIn profile. I think this is an easy way to maneuver your some of this experience level. You'll notice that I do not have anything at the DPNC yet. And so once I hit about a year mark, I'll probably go in and do some highlights of exactly what I'm looking for and exactly what some of that is. So make sure that you're really building this up.
Hey, Mary Lisa, can I add one thing quickly to that for those I see who may be in the job search? Recruiting teams will often use that as a reference to your actual resume that you submitted. So if you're active in the job search, make sure the resume that you're submitting and your LinkedIn profile coordinate or reflect each other, because they're going to see if the experience looks the same in both places. I would just share that.
That's totally right. And Bryan has lots of experience on that talent recruitment end. And Bryan is right in the Bryan school. So you've got resources all around to support you with that. But I completely agree with that. It can almost be like confirmation for the company. This is the same person, you know, they're putting the same information. I'm seeing it both places. Absolutely. Volunteer experience. Please do not discount your volunteer experience. Include all volunteer experience on your LinkedIn profile. That's pretty short and easy. I think I see a lot of people discount that service, and many hiring managers see it almost just as important as your work experience. So whether you're volunteering, you know, every once in a while, or you're sitting on a board or whatever that may look like, please make sure that you're including it. Skills. This is also pretty easy, but you'll see why these are so important. Please go through and add skills to your profile, things that you see that you are doing a good job in, or areas that you work in. And I am very big on supporting your friends. So please go through and endorse your friends for these skills. And you can go to their profiles and endorse them that way. But continue to use these, and I'll show you again later why that's important. Okay, this might be the most important slide from my presentation today. Please make sure that you are active in posting. The more active that you are, the greater the chance that your profile is going to be seen. And when I say be active, it doesn't always mean that you need to be, you know, posting every day, or that you need to comment on every post. Sometimes if you've got the time, just going through and liking, or maybe doing a quick comment or something along those lines can be good engagement for the day. So I wanted to post here some that I've either seen or that I've posted myself that have been really successful. So Brett Powell is an MBA alum, a proud MBA alum. And she actually worked at the White House for probably a couple of years. And she had some very cool experiences and some really cool things to talk about. She posted this picture, and I just loved everything about this picture. The colors are beautiful. You know, she's got great positioning in the photo. It's professional. She looks very professional. Obviously, we don't always all get a picture in front of Air Force One, but I just thought the colors here just looked really nice. And she got a lot of engagement on it. You know, she got 73 likes on that And I just went back to her profile to find this one because I remember seeing it and I thought she did a great job. The second one is a post that I did, and it's actually one where I shared something that I was tagged in. If you or someone, a colleague or a friend tagged you in something on Facebook, or on LinkedIn, this is a really great opportunity to share, just as you would do on Facebook. So we forget that LinkedIn can serve as a similar resource. And so I would encourage you to use it as such. A couple of more here. I know if you're a current student, some of you may be approaching graduation. I was really impressed with Carol Ann's post from probably a year or two ago now. But Carol Ann was another really amazing Bryan School student. I wonder if she could be on this call now. She did a really great job of posting a really professional photo, but showed an achievement, which is very cool. And so I enjoyed seeing this, and she got some really good engagement on this post as well. Keep in mind, after a week, you can go back to your post and you can see what the engagement looks like. So you'll notice down here, I hope you all can see my cursor, but 4,800 over 4,800 views of this post.
Uh-oh, did we lose Mary Lisa? Am I the only one not seeing her or hearing her?
No, I don't hear her anymore.
All right, hold on, you guys.
Oh, are you there?
We see you and hear you now.
Can you see my screen?
You're not sharing anymore.
That's weird.
You've been a little bit dicey in the audio coming through.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's not been terrible, but maybe it's just me.
Okay. Can you guys hear me okay now?
Yeah, you sound much better.
Okay. Sorry about that, guys. These are the beauties of working from home these days, I guess. So.
Hey, Mary Lisa, can you, I
Yeah.
know you might not like this, but can you try going without your video on and see if your audio comes in a little bit better?
Yeah, is this better?
I don't know, just keep going and we'll see.
Okay. Hopefully. These internet issues are never fun. Okay. So Maddie, feel free to interrupt me if things are still really bad, okay? This LinkedIn alumni tool is another resource, and I went back to this in the beginning, but this is an important piece of making sure that you are linking your school. So you can actually view alumni. This is a great way to reach out to alumni by going to, so this is just an example when I put ECU in here, but if you go to ECU or UNCG or whatever that may look like, and you can click alumni here. So if you see it here on your screen, and once you go there, you're going to be prompted with this screen. And this is going to list every alumni active and that coincides with that university. And you can do it for any school on LinkedIn. And it's a really great way to see if you're trying to find someone to reach out to, maybe there's a specific company. This is a good way to do that. And this is all really interactive. And so you can click through and it kind of helps just narrowing things down. I always encourage you, reaching out to people on LinkedIn can be a little scary, but if you have a connecting point, which an alma mater is a great connecting point, then that's a good chance to use it. So I always encourage utilizing this tool. I'm going to skip through this, but what you can see here is just a really some good ways to connect with alumni as you're sending a personal note. Please send personal notes when you reach out to anyone on LinkedIn, especially if you don't have an existing relationship with them. Okay, so this is kind of for those of you who may be in the job search, maybe if you're, and this could look different if you're currently unemployed. LinkedIn came out with some really amazing features during COVID to support folks who may be going into the job search process. And so I definitely encourage using some of these. On your home page, you will see this open to section. And once you click the open to section, it will bring up hiring. This is for any hiring managers out there, or finding a job. So I'm going to focus on the finding a job area, but if you feel comfortable, you can click through that, and this is what's going to pop up. And is what this allows you to do is give an overview of what you may be looking for. And I know you're probably thinking, like, what, am I putting this out there for the world? No, because what you're doing is you are posting this information for recruiters. And you can choose if you'd like people to see that you're open to work. I'm sure some of you have seen the green banner that is on some profile pictures. That means that they went through this process to show that they are open to work. If you choose to fill out this additional information, it lets someone with a recruiter profile know that you are open to a role and that these are the kinds of roles that you're interested in. And if you are in a job search process and you are really heavily looking for a job, I encourage. I'm going to talk about this in a little bit, but LinkedIn Premium is not a resource that I would personally pay for all the time. However, it can be a really good resource just during the job search process. Your recruiters likely have a LinkedIn Premium subscription tied to a recruiter profile, which is how LinkedIn knows that they are a LinkedIn recruiter. So that's how that works. It's a really great option. You get a month for free of premium if you have never activated that. So again, if you're in the LinkedIn search process, activate that free trial, maybe pay for a month or two until you get to the point where you feel comfortable or have an offer in hand. Okay, again, if you are looking for a new role, at the very top of your profile, you will see this jobs button. This is a really important button for the job search process. Once you click that button, it's going to look like this. And there are a lot of resources packed into this one section of LinkedIn. And you will see some of those here. So my jobs, job alerts, salary, skill assessments, and then more. And you'll see what those are here. My jobs is a really good section for you to go in and essentially have a bucket of jobs that you have marked as things that you're interested in. And so utilize that opportunity to keep those in one place. I think oftentimes we see some of these jobs and we lose them quickly. And we want to make sure that we're keeping those and that we don't lose sight of what those are. So keep those in the same place by just marking them as something you're interested in. And let's see here. Oops. Maddie, can you still hear me okay? Awesome. Maybe I was taking too much bandwidth with the video there. And how you do that is once you find a job that you're really interested in, go in and save that job. And this one, this is just a random one that I found. And keep in mind, you can narrow this down by looking at title or company or even an area if you're location bound. Save that job. And if anything, as you're saving jobs, LinkedIn is learning what you're interested in, and it will prompt you for jobs that may match what these jobs look like that you're saving. So go through and make sure you're taking advantage of that. You'll also see a LinkedIn Easy Apply button. Sometimes it won't say Easy Apply, it will just say Apply. If it says Apply, it is likely taking you to an outside website. And if I were you, you can always apply through LinkedIn, and I support applying through LinkedIn. On the flip side, I would also go to that company's website, find the application, and also apply through their company website. I would personally submit in both spots. And that might just be a preference of myself, but I think it never hurts to make sure that your profile is being seen. So another piece that I like, Kathleen here is in talent acquisition, and she is the one who is hiring for this role. So if you have premium, you also have the option to send an in-mail. And I like this because it gives you a chance to kind of put your best foot forward. And recruiters are open to you sending them a message. They understand what they're there to do, and they understand that they are a resource. And so take advantage of that. Obviously, you can't send multiple messages, send one and let it be done. But take advantage. They are in this for a reason. So Sean brought up a really great point. So check to make sure that the job is still open. They may not update the LinkedIn post. And that's a really good point, especially companies that might be smaller and don't have a dedicated team to work through some of these. Make sure that you're using that. That's a really good point, Sean. Thanks for saying that. Okay. Now, this is something that I am newer to, but I like to mess around on LinkedIn and do my research. And interview prep, this more button brings up a couple of different ones. So interview prep, resume builder, and application settings. The unemployment piece, I clicked through a little bit. You'll notice that only certain states actually provide good information on unemployment. So it's not, North Carolina is unfortunately not listed, but if you live in some other states, that could be a resource for you. What I was really excited about was interview prep. And the more I went into it, I realized what a great resource LinkedIn has for us there. And it's something that I didn't utilize before. And I was really impressed with what that looked like. And so a lot of these, again, are premium options. So you may need to have premium in order to view it. Do not be scared of asking your employer to pay for premium. I wouldn't maybe suggest telling them it's because you're job searching, but it's a good option to ask them and let them know how you're using it. You're reaching out to clients, you're connecting with prospective students or anything along those lines. There's so many different ways to utilize LinkedIn. So Jim said, are all of these settings on the app as well, or just the computer? I'll be honest, I have not checked through the app on these. I know the app is limited some of the things that you can look through. So this would be a computer only offering, but I'll definitely look through and see. And if somebody does while we're on the phone, let me know. I'd be curious. I was really impressed with some of the things that they listed here. Everything from weaknesses, which is always a question I think some folks are scared to answer, or the dreaded "tell me about yourself," because it's the first question that you're getting in an interview usually. So I thought some of these were creative, and I believe, from what I understand, these are folks from LinkedIn that are answering some of these. And I think that this one even includes a video. So read through these and see if it's something that you think would be that would be helpful. Swalitha, it's on the app as well. You rock. Thank you. So take a look on the app. It looks like it's something that you can check out there. Oops, there we go. Okay, so I'm wrapping things up here a little bit, but I do have some action steps for you, or this is my challenge for you. And it is, please make sure that you are launching or updating your profile. For those of you that may have entered the blue that you're new, or the green level from the beginning, make sure things are updated. Go take a deep look through and confirm that everything that's out there is accurate and updated, and that your profile is putting the best professional you forward. Follow 5 companies. Go through, follow 5 companies that you're interested in. I bet Maddie can provide a great list of companies that our, you know, alumni work at, or that are actively recruiting from the Bryan School or from UNCG. I know Bramley also works with those companies really closely. And that's another good way to make sure that you're following the right areas. Another is like 5 posts. And, you know, the best way to do this is to make sure that you have downloaded the LinkedIn app. You know, sometimes in the mornings, if you're like me, I kind of start my morning pretty slow. I'll pull up Facebook or Instagram and, you know, see what crazy things came out while I was sleeping or whatever. Add LinkedIn to that list of things that you're doing in the morning, or that you're starting your day with, or maybe looking at over lunch. And make sure that you're engaging by liking and commenting on posts. So like 5 posts and comment on 5 posts. And keep in mind, comments don't have to be this very long, drawn out answer. It can be something, you know, maybe Maddie posted something about an alumni that she's working with, and I can go in to comment and say, wow, what a cool story. I'm so proud to see our alumni doing amazing things. It took very little thought for me to include that post or that comment, but it helps with any kind of engagement. It helps Maddie because she's getting engagement on her post, and it's helping me because people that are also looking at Maddie's posts are going to see my comment. So it helps that your profile is getting seen. Okay, so thank you guys. This is very fun. I'll see if I can turn my video back on. Hopefully it doesn't mess things up here. I can take this out. I'll give everybody a second just to type in or to jot down or take a picture of my email address if there's something I can do to help. But yeah, I'd love to take any questions that you have. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. I know there were some questions on the recording. If things were a little off as far as Wi-Fi connections go, then that might be a little difficult, but hopefully my Wi-Fi stuck out a little bit.
Mary Lisa, thank you so much for your presentation. It was awesome.
Absolutely.
Make sure you guys are putting your questions in the chat. While you guys are doing that, since we don't have any, I'm going to ask one of mine. Mary Lisa, there's an option to turn on LinkedIn, like tracking all your interactions, your likes and comments. What are your thoughts on whether or not to have that on?
Do you mean like a notification of your comments and things?
No, there's like a setting where you can make visible to other people your interactions so that they can see all your likes and comments and posts and stuff.
Yes, I have mine available, and I think LinkedIn automatically puts that as an option. And here's another thing that I do, and this is maybe even a little creepy, but it's something that I enjoy kind of using as a resource. When I actually started my job, I found the person who had my role before me, and I went into her profile and I looked at all of her interaction. And the reason I did that is because she had connections that I was interested in. She had groups that she was following, or she had companies that she was following that I wanted to make sure that I was also following. And so it was important to me to see what some of those looked like. I would suggest doing that or opening that up. However, any political posts, if you like something politically focused on, you know, one area, then that would also show up. So I would keep LinkedIn as apolitical as possible, and just ensure that, you know, as you like things, then that's going to be something that a recruiter or something else may be able to see. So that's a good question, Maddie, and I think it kind of brings up a couple of different areas.
All right, we do have a question in the chat, which I missed earlier. I'm sorry, Nita.
I missed learning how to find how I stack up. I mean, the colors. Oh, this was really simple. It was just a kind of a gauge I put on the beginning to see how confident everyone felt in their LinkedIn abilities. So green was the middle where you have a profile, you know, it's filled out, but you're not super active. And some of the other ones were less active and more active. Not super important. Any other questions?
I just relaunched the poll for those of you who weren't here earlier. And I had another one, but I don't know how to make it show up. I think I deleted it somehow, but I'll keep working.
Oh no. I'm glad that I was able to make it through without my Wi-Fi completely crashing. So I'm sorry about that, guys.
All right, I have a question for you, Mary Lisa.
Yes.
How do you get people to endorse you? And what do you think about recommendations?
Endorsements are a weird piece, and I haven't quite figured out. So with recommendations, you can actually send a message to someone and request a recommendation. I don't actually suggest doing that. I think requesting a recommendation is a more intimate process. And so, you know, I would maybe even take that off of LinkedIn and, you know, mention to that person over coffee or something like, you know, I'd really be grateful for a recommendation. Keep in mind too, some folks that would be providing recommendation may or may not be active on LinkedIn. And so you might need to explain a little bit of what that process looks like. I have given several recommendations, and I enjoy just maybe carving out some time to boast on colleagues or friends that I think have done a really great job or that I've really enjoyed working with. So that is one thing. LinkedIn is a big give and take. So the more active you are and the more you're interacting with people, they will want to interact back with you, which helps. So, and as far as endorsements go, the biggest piece that I'm seeing as endorsements is as they pop up on other people's profile. And endorsing people for their skills is helpful when you're looking at jobs, because you'll notice pieces that say you match 75% of the skills required to do this job. So that can be really helpful, but it's something that you've got to keep up for it to be accurate. You see it pop up that you can endorse someone, if you feel like that is someone that you can endorse, do it. Absolutely.
All right, thanks, Mary Lisa. I got a new poll in there. I figured out there's a little drop down for the different polls you create.
I love that. I don't think I've ever created a poll on Zoom, so I'm super impressed that you were able to figure that part out.
Oh, well, just, you know, catch my next Bryan Breakroom session on Zoom.
I'll be tuning that one.
Okay, Mary Lisa, the slides that you had for your session today, is there a version of that that maybe you could provide, or is that something you want to keep proprietary?
Sure, I'd be happy to.
Okay, I figured I would get that question.
I'll clean them up a little bit and send them your way.
Okay, great. Well, are there any other questions about LinkedIn? Now's your chance. You can unmute if you would like. Oh, we have one.
With regard to professional correspondence, is it appropriate to correspond via LinkedIn, or should we request our connections, email, recruiters, alumni, etc.? I always connect through LinkedIn. So if you're referring to just, you know, sending a connection and reaching out, I have, you know, made business contacts through LinkedIn. Depending on how active the person is, they may offer up, you know, hey, here's my email. please feel free to reach out. You can always also note that, is there a better way for me to reach out to you? Things along those lines. I am very active on LinkedIn. And so, I continuously am checking to make sure whatever messages that may come through, which do happen really frequently, but again, it's because I'm really active. So if it's someone that was really active, that may not be an issue. If it's someone that you're realizing like, oh, this person may not get on quite as much, then it may be good to ask for an email. Sometimes they also have their email listed in their LinkedIn profile. And so if you want to use that, if they're putting it out there, then that's something that you can utilize. At least that's my viewpoint. So, and you can say, hi, I'm reaching out to you. I noticed your email on LinkedIn, and XYZ, here's where I'm reaching out. Cool. Thanks, Justin. Well, Lisa said that she applied to her last 2 jobs using LinkedIn Premium, and you were hired. That's awesome. It's I hear more and more people noting that in some of it. And something you'll see now that's popped up is I like on each position will note that you found that role but through LinkedIn. And so I think that's really cool that LinkedIn is showing what a resource they are.
That's cool.
Lots has evolved through COVID with LinkedIn as well.
Yeah, I heard they were making just breaks in employment easier to explain to, and adding stay-at-home parent as options for employment. But that was pretty interesting.
I totally support that. Any kind of stay-at-home parent, that's a full-time job in itself, and it should be highlighted on LinkedIn. So I'm glad that they're taking that.
I should add that to my.
Not that I have any experience with the stay-at-home parent life, but
yeah. Anybody that has a kid definitely was a teacher in the last year at some point.
I leave that up to my friends with strengths that I do not have.
Okay, Mary-Liz, I have one more question for you. Can you give us any specific examples of things that you might lose or things you might gain with the premium account versus having just the free one?
The only thing you lose is your money. It is expensive, so just make sure you're taking note of that. But something that you add is, and one thing that I really enjoy, I like looking, especially from a business perspective, I want to be able to look at other people's profile, but I don't want them to know that I'm looking at their profile. And so LinkedIn Premium gives me the option to look at someone's profile and also see who is looking at my profile without that person seeing that I'm looking at their profile. Does that make sense? So if you have premium, you can look at someone's profile. They do not know that you're looking. And then at the same time, you can also see who's looking at your profile. If you don't have premium, you have to choose. Do you want to see who's looking at your profile? If yes, then others can see when you look at their profile. On the flip side, if you choose that you do not want people to see when you're looking at your profile, then you can't see who's looking at yours. So it's a double-edged sword and you have to choose. There is one option in the middle that lets you, that will tie it to a company. But if it's a really small company and it's obvious who's looking, then that's not super helpful. But it's up to your own situation. And some people don't mind at all. I also have lots of friends in sales who say they want people to see when they're looking at their profile, which can be important too.
All right, we have time for one more question that Jim just dropped in the chat, and then that'll wrap us up.
Where is the setting to view others' profiles in the free version? So I'm actually just going to walk through this as I'm doing it. You go to your settings. So if you click your, it should say me in the top corner, you can click Settings and Privacy. And make sure I'm looking, if you click Visibility on the left side, and you'll see profile viewing options. Mine currently says private mode. So that's where you're going to see that.
Awesome.
And once you click through, you can see exactly what you're looking for your profile. You also may find exploring that section that there are some other good tools for you.
Very good. All right, Mary Lisa, this has been great. I learned a lot. I hope everybody else did. Thank you so much to Mary Lisa Pegg for being here with us, and to all of our attendees for coming and gaining some knowledge on LinkedIn. I'll follow up with an email with some things that we learned, Mary Lisa's contact information in case you missed that earlier, and possibly a YouTube link, we'll see. But definitely Mary Lisa's slides at some point. So thank you all so much for coming to the Bryan Break Room. I hope to see you guys back next time. Bye.
Bye, friends.